Welcome to Behind the Mic, the deep dive behind radio theology. Here are your hosts, Darren Earlywine, Lisa Graff, and Ryan Allworth.
Welcome back to Behind the Mic, the spiritual deep dive episode of Radio Theology. This show corresponds to November 17th, 2019. This week in Indianapolis, it was the freaking coldest it's ever been since God created heaven and earth.
It's like Arctic.
Wow.
Antarctic.
That is so dramatic.
If you don't live in an Arctic place like us, God loves you more than he loves us, or we've just made bad choices. He's not responsible for any of those, but we did choose to live here.
Yeah,
that's true.
We could move anytime we want.
Could.
I have turned down multiple jobs in very nice locations.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
The first we've ever heard of this.
I know. Tell us all about it.
Well, early on, I decided not to take a job in San Diego, take a job here in Indiana.
Okay.
Basically, because my wife was like, I already moved from North Carolina to Indiana just a year ago. Now I do want to be your wife, but I will not be your wife if I have to live on the exact opposite coast of my mother.
Got it.
So the Lord spoke very quickly and clearly and said, don't take that job.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Then I was kind of offered that job a second time and said no to it. Mind you, when I came from Arizona to Indiana to go to college, the whole plan, my plan was 4 years of college, go live in San Diego or Phoenix, one of the two.
Okay.
Didn't do that. Then many moons later, I was offered a job in Phoenix at a big church in Phoenix.
Wow.
Said no to that.
Oh, my goodness.
Then shortly after that, I was offered a job to work in Bradenton, Florida.
Oh, Bradenton, yes.
That's a good area.
Tampa area, very close to Anna Marie Island.
Close to St. Pete Beach.
Gorgeous.
Oh, man. St. Pete Beach is my jam.
Said no to that. Oh, in between that, I forgot I was also offered a job to work in Sacramento, California.
Oh, okay.
All of these places, about $6 billion to the infinity power, better weather-wise to live than this state.
Sure.
But
here we are.
Here we are. And this show is not about me whining and complaining about the weather, although I could do it for hours. Trust me.
Wow, that sounds exciting.
I won't. Yeah. I won't. Hey, this week on Radio Theology, we didn't whine about the weather. We talked about, well, for one, we kicked the show off, and we're very concerned about Lisa getting old and her boosting her own confidence at the gym by not wearing her wedding ring.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
That's right. That wasn't the way we went about it?
I don't think so.
You're right.
Wasn't it?
That's the way you tried to spin the story incorrectly.
Listen, I
That's
take it
fake
all
news.
back.
That's fake news. Thank you, Donald.
You're welcome.
I just don't wear my wedding ring at the gym.
I get it. But I do, you know what? I do think it's interesting that, like, how that works, that it is, like, I think it does make a difference because there have been times where, like, I feel like I've been at the gym or at some place and I've caught someone, like, taking a glance at the hand before.
Yes.
And I've done the same thing of, like, just trying to figure out, like.
It just helps when you're trying to figure somebody out.
Well, and for me, as a guy at the gym, I try not to speak really to anybody at the gym.
Yeah.
Strong move.
Well, I've got the headphones in. It's kind of like I'm not talking to people. Then I feel like it's kind of rude. So I made one friend the other day at the gym.
That's sweet.
Great
What's her
guy. His
name?
name's Jillian.
Okay.
I see what you did there. That, well played.
Thank you.
Well played.
Is he your spin class instructor?
Oh, we're getting friends involved. We got momentum. No, Ryan, I haven't done my spin class for a while.
Oh, why not?
Because I miss it, and I'm not able to make it work for my schedule. And I'm not even sad about the fact that I love my spin class because I love it.
Are you not in charge of your schedule?
I would love for you to join me in my spin class, Ryan. We could be spin buddies.
Oh my gosh. I
Spuddies.
would love. Wow. I don't know if I'd rather sit behind you just to mock you in the spin class or like face you.
Well, if you were
to
behind me and
also
Ryan,
mock
tell you what, you'd enjoy the view. So anyway, my friend Julian, I made a friend Julian.
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 This is a man.
Yes. So
A
now
non-friend.
I don't take my headphones out and speak to him. I just give him like a peace sign or a heads up or like anyway. But here is what I have. If I do ever talk to a lady at the gym, I do check and make sure she's wearing a wedding ring before I speak to her.
Okay.
Because I don't want some random at the gym who may be single or whatever thinking I'm trying to, to put out the vibe.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Your attractiveness is just magnetic. Is
No,
what
I'm
you're
not saying it's about me.
Right.
I'm just saying I don't want them to get the
If
wrong
you've ever
idea.
been in LA Fitness with him, it's like these women
man.
just fall
Gosh.
all over themselves. He
Flocking.
can't even get on the Stairmaster.
Flocking.
I do love the Stairmaster.
I was on the Stairmaster the other day. I'm like, this is actually, I like this. As far as cardio goes, the Stairmaster, it's kind of where it's at.
I love it.
Yeah, I like it too.
It's one of my jams.
This has nothing to do with spirituality.
No, it
I
doesn't.
thought we were
It
getting
doesn't.
to the spiritual meat of our conversation.
We were trying
on
to.
the radio show.
I just wanted to take a U-turn and see what happened down that avenue, and it was fun.
It was.
All right.
It was good.
Now, we did talk about Friendsgiving. Lisa,
Yeah.
you,
we did, yes.
it is birthday week for you.
Mm-hmm.
Happy early birthday.
Ripe young age of 35.
Yeah.
35, I feel like, is better than 25.
How so?
Really?
Well, 25, well, at 25, you can rent a car, which is kind of exciting. But you're just kind of in no man's land, and I feel like you're just a little bit, for me at least, I was a little more freaked out, like 25, like, man, my 20s are almost over.
Mm-hmm.
Although, like, I really kind of enjoyed getting older. So, like, at 35, it just was kind of like a speed bump kind of birthday.
25, I'm trying to think. I was engaged at 25. So, yeah, 25 was okay. I liked my 30s, though. I'm excited about my 40s. They're not too far away. But, Lisa, these are about your mid-30s. You're official and, like, right at the midline. Mm-hmm. Gosh, you're halfway to 70. How do you feel?
I have never felt older than when you said that.
Wow.
No, I feel fine. I think it's not going to freak me out.
Yeah.
Right?
We didn't talk about this on the show, so this is just bonus content.
Yeah.
So at 35 or almost Sunday, you will be 35. Well, now when this airs, you will be 35.
Yeah.
So as we're speaking into the future, people are listening, and it's a 35-year-old version of yourself.
Sure.
So at 35, if you would have told the 25-year Lisa
Oh, this is a good question coming up.
Yeah.
where you would be and what you'd be doing at 35, 25-year-old Lisa would have said,
No way. No way. None of it.
really?
Yeah.
Were you married at 25?
I was a newlywed at 25.
Brand new
I just
married.
turned 25, and then we got married the following February.
Okay.
Well, what would be unbelievable to 25-year-old you about 35-year-old you?
Well, let's see. I was on the radio then, and so that is pretty standard.
Okay.
But I just think the community that's surrounding me now, I never envisioned for myself, and love it.
Okay.
And all the mom stuff, like the Mother of the Year stuff that I do and speak to moms and like public speaking, never would have crossed my mind.
Really?
Yeah, I have always been scared of it, but now my conviction's greater than my fear, and so I'm going for it, and become a speaker. So yeah, I would not have imagined this life, but I love it.
Huh.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. I like it. And I think that's the cool thing about, I don't know, about the process of I don't know if I want to say evolving, but evolving to become who you were born to be.
Yeah.
I think maybe it is a scarier place when you arrive at another birthday and you see either negative momentum or no momentum towards progressing and seeing God's plan unfolding in your life.
Right.
And I wonder if, we've been on the radio now for 3 years. I've been able to be your friend for 3 years, and I didn't know the 25-year version of yourself. And but you've really, really made some aggressive, courageous steps to become who God's created you to be, and to make those steps. I'm wondering if, had you not taken any of those steps over the past 3 years, what 35 would feel like.
Right. Yes, I agree. I think, right, because I can't, like, all of the stuff that I've done that I feel like it was so co-done with God that, like, I can't take credit for it, so it doesn't really feel like it's me that's done these things. Like, at the beginning of this year, my goal was to speak 20 times. I've done more than that. Like, my goal was to release my journal. I did that. We did the women's event, the conference, and like I've done all of the things that I set out to do in 2019. And so that feels big and crazy to me looking back. Like it was someone else who accomplished all of those things.
But it wasn't. It was you.
It was me. Right. So I feel like, I wouldn't have even had these dreams had I not continued to step into God's leading, for sure.
See, I think you have kind of a double whammy that I have. My birthday is December 29th, so I end each year, calendar year, and get older. Mm-hmm. So it's like I don't have like a waypoint of like a July birthday of like, okay, well, we got the first of the year, and then we got the birthday. You've got late November birthday as well, or mid-November.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of late November, Ryan, when your birthday is
Mid-August.
okay, so you've got a little separation there. Do you mark, are those two waypoints that you mark, like first of the year goals and then like here's my birthday type like perspective on life?
I guess I've never thought of that. Yeah, I mean, I think for the past 3 years I've done a lot of like last quarter of the year doing a lot of visionary goal setting stuff for the year ahead. I've never really thought of that. Like the new year starts at my birthday. Maybe I'll try that next year when I turn 39 instead of January 1.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm saying the cool part is you get the double. You could do a January 1 thing and then check back in with yourself in August to be like, now the year's going, we're halfway in, but boom,
like
here's
that.
another jump start. I'm now you're older.
Yeah, I'm trying it. Giving it a whirl.
And maybe for you, because I know we all have trouble celebrating ourselves and marking the victories before we like start on to the next goal or dream. But if you're spending the last 3 months of the year casting vision for the next year, maybe then August, your birthday, would be the point where you would stop, look back over
Yeah,
that
it would make
year and
sense.
celebrate.
Yeah, 8 months
Celebrate
in.
a little more.
With still 4 months left to go to tweak, and
Yeah.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
One of the things I was actually working on a sermon this week and didn't make it in the show, but it's about finding being the master of your margins, finding margin in your life. And one of the quotes that I built some of the sermon off of, actually Darren Cooper that's on our team gave it to me. It's from Seth Godin, and he said that busyness is a choice, but productivity is a skill. And I think, from what you've said, Lisa, and as we're talking about right now, is like you have had a very productive 34th year of life.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen by accident.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you set goals, you thought through the year, you were intentional. Like there was a skill and a structure and a vision that you brought to this year. It didn't just accidentally happen.
Yeah. Well, and that's funny because when you were saying that quote and started to apply it to me, I was like, yep, I know. I've been just way too busy. So I can view myself as, yes, I've had many productive seasons of this year, but I've also filled my life with excess busyness. Not for the, look how busy I am, like some badge of honor. I don't feel that way about it, but it like that accidentally happened to me in the midst of productivity. I forgot to like put the guardrails up. And so I started saying yes to all of these things, and it was not everything was unnecessary, but lots of the extra stuff was unnecessary.
Well, here's my word of encouragement to you, and maybe it's for you that you're listening. Maybe you're in your 30s. And I think I read this in the book Essentialism. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could have read it in John Acuff's book, one of them. I don't remember. I read it in a book.
Okay.
He talked about how the decades of your life, what they become, and a lot of that your 30s become a decade of editing in your life. And I would encourage you, Lisa, is that like I think my 30s have the most regrets in them of the 3 decades I've lived so far. I'm getting ready to turn 42, right? Wow, freak, I am ancient, bro. On December 29th. But there was so much editing of my life that happened over that decade, and I think it's kind of cool that you're in that midpoint of that decade. And I think what I know is that your 35th year of life, you will begin editing even more out of your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And focusing in on really who God's created you to be. And
Yeah.
you know what? We talk about that a lot on the show, not because it's just something that we just want to talk about, but we really want to help you take those steps. That's why we've created Spiritual DNA. It's an online course to help you become who God's created you to be. It's always on sale. You can get the course. It's out there right now at spiritualdna.me. We'd love for you to go check that out. We've seen thousands and thousands of people come through Spiritual DNA, and it has dramatically changed their life. And we'd love to invite you to go check that out. If that's something you need, a next step, maybe as you're nearing the end of this year, whether you have a birthday or not, if you need to get a little clear on God's purpose for your life and who you're created to be, I want you to go check out spiritualdna.me and get the course and let it start changing your life. One of the conversations we had this week was about Friendsgiving. Lisa, you are celebrating your 35th birthday at a Friendsgiving.
Yeah.
And we've done this, I think, a couple of times with friends. It's not a regular thing that we do. But I love the concept of it, an excuse to get together and just celebrate friendship and the love that you have for people in your life.
Yeah, I think there's so many ways that we can do it without even naming it, but somehow it's more special when you can be intentional and name it, like Friendsgiving. Or I have a friend who every Friday night throws a crappy dinner party. That's what it's called. And she's single, and so she invites her single friends over, and they all just bring leftovers from their week. And it's like called the crappy dinner party, and they do it every Friday. And I'm like, I love that, because it doesn't have to be something extravagant or extra special to just be together. That's the point, is just to be together.
I wonder if, I think about this sometimes. I've made this point before in sermons, is so often we feel like the goal of meeting people is if we just want to invite them to church. If you're listening, if you're a Christian, you want to influence your friends and lead them towards Christ. I'm like, man, I want to invite them to church with me, and I could get them to a Christmas Eve service or whatever. And I'm not saying that's bad. That can be great. But I wonder what it'd look like if for a year we just started inviting more people to our table, to our crappy dinner party. It can be something fun in Friendsgiving, but it's just, I'm amazed at the power of invitation.
Yes.
For people. I think we miss that sometimes, thinking that, well, what's the big deal if like who am I to invite someone over? No one wants to think about anything that you personally get invited to, what that feels like, to feel like I've been included, I've been seen, I've been invited in. I think if we were to spend the next year inviting more people to our table and maybe inviting them to church, it'd be amazing. I think the kind of impact we'd see having on people's lives.
I like that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm trying to pull up a quote that we posted. This week was World Kindness Day, happened this week, and lots of people use that as an opportunity to celebrate the life of Mr. Rogers. But one of his quotes that we posted was, if you could only sense how important you are to the lives of those you meet, how important you can be to the people you may never even dream of. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, how important are we to our neighbors who, like, when I invite our neighbors over, I'm like, just come on in. Yeah, we live like this. Like, I have 2 young kids. We have 2 jobs, and we're a busy family. I'm like, guess what? The toy room is a mess. We live like this. Come on in. And to me, it doesn't matter. It's like, just come into my home. But just takes the pressure off, of having everything to be perfect and lined up before you can ask somebody to come into your life.
Ryan, what do you think? Do you think of a time, maybe growing up, or it's been now, like, what's one of the more, I guess, meaningful invitations maybe you feel like you've gotten to a friendship or to a mentorship, or maybe just a dinner? I don't know.
I don't know why this just popped in my head. This by extension, I guess, was an invitation to me, but my dad was in the Navy when I was growing up, and when was this, like 88, 89, early elementary school. We moved to Pascagoula, Mississippi, as far southeast in the state as you can get. We could walk to the Gulf of Mexico.
Wow.
He was stationed there for a couple of years, and our neighbor, I don't even remember the names, but I guess, like, he saw a moving truck. Now, this could just be Southern hospitality. I don't know. It could just been this guy's, like, MO. But he brought a couple beers over to my dad, and they're standing in our front yard. He's like, have a beer. And whatever his name was, shook his hand. He's like, you guys looking for a church? And I love that, like a handshake, a beer, an invitation to, go into a house of worship together. I thought my dad still shares that story. I don't even remember the guy's name, but I think if we can have that approach too, that we need to just stop being so scared of what people might think, and just, if we're following Jesus and he is the most important relationship in our lives, then I think by default we should be talking a lot more about how he's changing our life, and, like, not be afraid of it.
Yeah.
Just because, at the end of the day, it's like, if people are weirded out that you're talking about your faith, then okay. I'm not saying beat them over their head with a sign, like I was my sophomore year in college at IU. I was walking to class, and someone was on campus, and they had, like, a sign that said, like, I don't even remember what it had, flames. I remember that, and I'm like, oh wow,
strong start.
Oh boy. And their invitation wasn't even an invitation; it was a challenge. It was, got Jesus. I was like, whoa, that is aggressive.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm a Christian, and she blew me off. She's like, yeah, right. I heard her say it under her breath, and I was like, what kind of message, like, what is a win for you? Like, at the end of the day, like, if that is your message, like, where do you go home and what's successful for you in that aspect?
Yeah.
Like, you turned people off to what you're saying is their, not way out, but like, you turn people off to God, is that a win for you? So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of other invitations, but those two, like just the differences of, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. Here's a beer. You need a church?
Yeah.
And a total just message that I can totally get, that as a Christian, I was on the receiving end of it. And I'm like, I don't want a thing to do with you, And so, and I've also wondered if I've ever done that to anybody else, inadvertently, where just having this awesome message, but conveying it in a totally, wrong way. But there's also grace for that too.
There is, and I think, it makes me think about just how many times in Jesus' life we see him at a table with someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was just a constant, inviting spirit in that, and how often he just shared a meal with people. And I think we lose, really, I think sometimes the simplicity of that.
Mm-hmm.
We think maybe if it's a Friendsgiving, like you're saying, Lisa, it's got to be a big thing and it's got to be perfect and I got to do whatever. It's like, no, you could probably just have people to your house and you can eat on paper plates like we do at our house all of the time.
Right.
I like the boldness too that Jesus would often invite himself over.
Yeah. Hey, I'm coming to your house.
Yeah. Right.
Like, what do you have to eat? I'm coming over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what?
Well, I think about for you, Ryan, I mean, one conversation one guy had in your driveway decades ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's still something that your family talks about. Probably that guy.
Yeah.
If you said, hey, man, do you remember that time? You'd be like, oh, barely?
Yeah.
Like, he may not even remember that you guys were his neighbors.
Right.
Like, yeah, that
Right.
one family that was the naval guy.
Uh-huh.
But here you are decades later.
Yeah.
Because it's the power of invitation.
That church is actually where I got baptized
Wow.
with my sister the same day. So, I mean, it's a simple invitation,
Yeah.
and it involved a beer too. And that's, I mean, shoot, dude, you started a ministry called Pub Theology, talk about, it can be such a hot button issue for so many people. It's like, wait, he was drinking a beer. It's like, yeah, man, it's like, lighten
Calm
up.
down, everybody.
Jesus knew how to throw a party.
Yeah.
Like the worst of the worst wanted to hang out with him more.
Yeah.
Are they doing the same with us?
Yeah. I love it. So I don't know what that looks like for you. You may not be turning 35. You may not be celebrating Friendsgiving this weekend. You probably are, celebrating Thanksgiving next week. Maybe if you've got an extra seat at your table, that you can invite somebody that maybe they're alone. Maybe they have no family and they could have a place at your Thanksgiving Day table. But even if they don't, maybe it's just time this year to stop and look around and of whose life could maybe you have an opportunity to change for love by just inviting them in. It could be a cup of coffee. It could be over to your house. But don't underestimate the power of invitation that you have to make a difference in someone's life. You may be struggling with a lot of loneliness right now. Maybe you feel alone and you're waiting for someone to invite you into their thing. Well, the quickest way out of your loneliness might be just to begin to invite people into your life. And you may be missing how much value that you can bring to someone else. Is that the solution to your loneliness may not be someone else fixing it. It may be you actually taking steps to fix it yourself and to invite people into the journey that God has you on, because you do have value. You are made on purpose and for a purpose. God's near you, not far from you. He's for you, not against you. And you may be unbelievably underestimating the power of what your invitation could bring into someone else's life. Listen, that's going to be it for us today here on Behind the Mic. We want to thank you so much for listening each and every week, every episode that you do. We'd love to hear from you. You can comment on Facebook or you can send us an email at info@blackbirdmission.com. It's a great way to send us any questions, prayer requests. It'll get to us, and we'd love to respond to you. And we would like to give you an invitation to just pray about something. Just around the corner is Giving Tuesday. It's going to be on December 3rd this year. It's the National Day of Giving right after Thanksgiving. And you're going to have Black Friday, you're going to have Cyber Monday, and you're going to have Giving Tuesday. And radio theology is a part of Blackbird Mission, which we do pub theology. We do the radio theology program in this podcast. We also do the Spiritual DNA online course and live workshop. And we exist by the donations of people just like you throughout the year, and allow us to be able to do what we do to bring this content and affect the lives of thousands of people all over the world. And we'd love you to pray over the next couple of weeks to maybe pray about if God would have you partner with us financially on Giving Tuesday. You can get information for that at blackbirdmission.com or also at radiotheology.com, and we'll be posting stuff as that day comes up. And really, anything helps. Could be $5, could be $30, could be $5,000. Don't get us wrong if you are blessed in that way. But we'd love for you to join us as a partner to help us continue to take this message across the globe and into more people's lives. So we love you. We thank you genuinely for joining us again on this episode. And until we talk to you next time, remember that God has created you on purpose and for a purpose. He's near you, not far from you. And He is for you, not against you. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next time on Behind the Mic.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Mic. For more episodes, go to radiotheology.com.